Hi there everyone, welcome back to Dandelion Delphi Tutorials. We're going to look at the Exemplar of 2018 question 2.2. This would be for both grade 11 and 12 learners as it deals with database programming using our Addo table components to query our database. So this is the database programming section of the paper. Just a reminder that you're not allowed to use .filter, .sort or .locate in this paper. So here we go, we need to get input from the user and they're going to enter in an email address for us or their domain name, and then we need to display the name of the players and these email addresses as well as count them. Press pause and try it yourself. It's always important to take note of the code that was provided, and they have initialized iCount for us as well as set up the tab stops. And here typically it would say add your code here. So make sure that you code below this line. There's the input from the user using a dialog box. So input from a user using a dialog box is an input box. And I always just put my default input there. The example of output was for gmail.com. And this will just speed up my processing or my testing of my program because I just need to click on OK. I don't have to type in the gmail.com every time I run my program. Remember to create your headings because there are marks allocated for headings. And very important is to move your active record to the first record in the table and then start looping while not end of the table, and then also remember your .next, that is always outside of the if. Then only go back and code in between that. So I often use pos to find partial values in another string. So they have entered in sDomain Gmail, and I'm testing if I find Gmail inside of TBL players in the field email for each record. And if that answer is greater than 0, then I'm going to count them and I'm going to display the name and the email address of the players. Remember, if you look at the question, there was a hidden question here, there was an open line in between all this data and the total at the bottom, and the domain name was displayed as well as my counter. Now let's have a look at the button change score, and what we're doing in here is we are adding 250 points to the current score of a player. What is important to note is this here, that it says we're making the change to the current active record. That means anywhere where that black triangle sits. So you don't have to go and search for anything. It's just whichever record is currently the active one. Press pause and I'll show you the answer soon. So this was a very simple solution. Remember, we start with .edit to make changes, and .edit and insert both have to have a .post to post that result to your database. Then this is the field that I'm changing, and I'm giving it a value by taking the existing score and adding 250 to the existing score of this active record. So there's no searching, it's just going to make a change to wherever that little triangle is pointing to at the moment. So question 2.2.3 is asking us to add a new game. So we will add this to TBL games. So what we need to take note of is the wording in here for the game index. It says that the records in a database table are indexed starting at 1 up to the number of records in the table. Now what this means is that your game index corresponds with your record count. So you could use your record counter to determine what the value is of the next game index because they will be the same. And then another thing to take note of is today's date. So we're going to use the date function. And then this line here is getting the player ID, which in the table TBL games is the foreign key. And remember, a foreign key has to have an existing value in what I call the parent table. So the foreign key is getting its value from the selected record, which is the same as the active record, so the one they clicked on. from the table TBL players. And then just input boxes are used then for score and duration. So press pause. I'll show you the example of output just now. If you add the values for Sue Prince, you will see Sue Prince will appear here at the bottom. So as I've said before, the insert and edit both have a dot post. So we just start here with dot insert and then we have a dot post. So they both look very similar. We have the field names here on the left that are getting values. And then because the game index corresponds with the number of records, I'm taking my table games dot record count, that's the number of records in that table, plus 1, and that will create a unique value for the primary key, which is game index, for the table TBL games. We had to assign the current date, today's date, to game date, and then we had to assign the player ID of the selected record in TBL players to the player ID of this new record that we are inserting. So you'll see this side is my receiving side, so this is TBL games, and it's getting a value from TBL players for the player ID field. And then just score and duration both used input boxes. You could have stored the input first above the insert here as integers or as string values and just assign them there. Both of them would be correct. And then very important, don't forget your dot post. So that's the end of question 2.2. I hoped all the grade 11 and 12 learners benefited from this lesson. For more information on database programming, you can have a look at my Dandelion Delphi book 2. Hope to see you soon.